The specs are showing that there's two screens, so it's dual, left and right. And before the screens were 4.6 inches and 7.3 inches, and now they're 6.2 inches and 7.6 inches. So
Yeah,
I guess one of them for some reason has to be bigger than the other, but I don't understand why they're not. I guess because they fold on top of each other, and with the hinge, I guess one has to be bigger than the
yeah,
other.
definitely. And there's a lot of it wasn't there then said in the document in the in the I forgot what I had to call it, the news article saying that the hinges are a lot 10 times better than what they were.
Oh yeah, they're better. Before it was, I think it didn't close as much. Like, oh, you also couldn't have it in different modes in a sense. Like you only had it closed or opened, but the new hinges allow you to have it partially opened,
Interesting.
which is more like a book, you know.
Yeah, it's so pretty much just
So
turning into like using the technology for the Nintendo 3DS or the Nintendo DS when it actually opens up the screen and you could actually open it up halfway,
yeah,
like read a book, play a game, or something like that. What it seems like it's doing.
yeah. And some of the really cool improvements are that the 7.6 inch panel is going to be 120 hertz, so that's a very big jump. And if we go into some of the specs, so the screens are both bigger. There's a faster processor, which is generally what happens. The RAM is the same at 12 gigabytes. The storage is a little bit less, 256, so not as much. But the rear cameras are all the same, 12 megapixels. But the front camera is like the same as before with 10.
Interesting.
And some other good things are that it's going to be the battery size is bigger because obviously it's a more powerful device, so it needs that too.
Yeah,
But it says it's not been tested yet, but we're expecting it to be longer than the 10 hours of the original,
definitely.
so more battery life. And then for weight, it's only about 0.5 ounces heavier,
Definitely.
so not much heavier. And the big thing about it is having bigger screens, more flexible opening and closing, and then the
And you know
battery
what the
life.
crazy thing is? Because we're at 9.9 ounces already. We're
Yep.
almost at a pound, bro, on a phone. You
Yeah.
think about that. That's ridiculous. How we went from a big device, from a huge device, like the portable phones that used to have in the car. Those were like almost a little over a pound. But then we went small. Now we're going back to a pound. Like, why are we doing that?
I guess we're going to it because of privilege.
Privilege.
Yeah, well, it's like, if you have 2 grand to put on a phone, um, you know, you're getting a lot for that weight. Before you weren't getting that
Yeah,
much,
you couldn't even
right?
get a video call out of it.
Yeah, it was a brick, and you couldn't do much with it except hear someone's voice. So now it's like, okay, we don't mind it being being heavier if we can do more with it, a lot more with it. And then eventually, you think that maybe the next model, if this one doesn't sell too well or whatever, maybe it'll be lighter,
Yeah, definitely.
or maybe it'll do the same things it does right now, but with it being not as
Yeah,
heavy.
definitely.
So yeah, if you guys want to comment on this new Samsung phone, uh, you can do that on our YouTube, or you can also email us some of the things. What your thoughts on this new phone? So our next topic, Intel is already gearing up for its new generation for its laptops. It's going to be the 11th gen, and what's awesome about it is they're saying that they're going to be it's for the thin and light laptops. There's going to be more powerful, higher base speeds, and also a lot longer battery life.
Oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what the 11 gen has.
Yeah. So I think personally the most excitement is at the lower gen. Like the lower gen, like the more efficient chips, because you just talked about how the phone was really
Yeah.
heavy, and so if you can do more and more with lighter stuff, then you can see really cool applications with these new CPUs. Like the smaller form factor
Yeah.
they can get. That's what we're talking about, like different brain chips. And so seeing laptops that are super thin,
Yeah.
it's pretty exciting.
Definitely. Seeing that, like you're right. Like laptops are getting thinner, phones are getting bigger. So what's next?
Yeah, I guess it's your preference. Yeah. Like, but yeah, so there's going to be all the way from 2 cores and 4 threads to 4 cores and 8 threads. The turbo on these ones, so the very top one could be up to
Mhm.
4.8, and the very low end could be a 3.9 on the i3. So i7 4.8, and as you go up, you're going to get more cache because you have more cores, 6 megabytes up to 12. But the most wattage they're saying that the i7 would have would be 28
Wow.
watts. So 12 to 28.
Wow.
And at the low end, the i3, it's even lower at 7 watts to 15.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they're, again, not being super specific. They're saying it's going to be still built on the 10 nanometer node, but they said that you could expect to see 20% faster speeds from day-to-day office productivity
Mhm.
tasks. And so it's going to be at least an extra hour of battery life, like for things like video streaming, which I think is a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Video streaming is, pretty intense.
How much faster can a 10 nanometer get? How much more can you get out of it? That's my question.
Um, I wasn't aware that Intel had actually done much on 10 nanometer. Maybe they had done more on the mobile than I
Uh-huh.
was aware of. They were taking a long time to get 10 nanometer for the desktop. Um, you know, Again, I don't like it that the industry's not unified on this. So like AMD's 7 nanometer might be equivalent to Intel's 10
Uh-huh.
nanometer, and then there's different, there's Samsung processors, that their dies, and then there's TSMC, and then there's Intel, and so each of them are measuring things from different spots. So I don't like that there's not agreement on that. It's a lot of marketing,
Yeah.
as to who has like the smaller number. It all depends on how efficient that
I was gonna
chipset
say
is.
that they should stay within the nanometer and then try to master it, not try to go as small as they can, just to see who like a competition who could get to the smallest number ever.
Yeah, well, money drives most things, but at, for your point, um, Nvidia is known for that. Nvidia is usually known for sticking on an older node for a little bit
Hmm.
longer because they usually were ahead of their competitors in terms of um,
Yeah.
drivers. Like they could get more out of their architecture, so they could stay on the older node, which is usually bigger, and they would save money that way, and they could sometimes pass it on to their consumers because they're staying on an older node and they don't have to pay Samsung for their latest
Yeah.
node because they're already talking about like 5 nanometer and 3 nanometer,
Damn.
and that's a huge premium to have to go to that right away, like every time they release
Yeah.
it. So if you're the leader, you can stay back on an older node and not have to pay that premium for the cutting edge for a little bit, and you can still offer better performance than your competitors. So that does happen, but not as much as like a competition. And the Intel, actually, remember we covered that like a week or two ago, that Intel is actually doing some of what
Yeah.
you're talking about. They're they're gonna be doing more chiplet design, where they're gonna be combining like 10, 28 nanometer, 14 nanometer, and they're gonna have different parts with different sizes. And so in a sense, they're trying to get as much performance out of each of the different nodes. And it's kind of a competition there.
Yeah. See, that's interesting.
Yeah, to see if AMD goes that same way, because AMD's decided not. AMD, as far as I know, they were just doing all of it 7 nanometer.
Yeah, see that's
You know,
fine if they stay with the 7 and stick with there and try to get as much as you can out of it, because like you don't know how much more how much you could get out of a 10. Like I think you could probably get a lot out of it, but there it just the 10 comes out and then they're already okay, we're working on the 7 already.
yeah. What they're finding out is that they have to stay on these nodes longer, because the research and development to shrink it
Yeah,
smaller and smaller is more expensive, because it's harder to get things smaller and
correct.
smaller. And so I would like to see if Intel's, with their idea of combining these different nodes, actually challenges the way that AMD and Nvidia do
Correct.
business,
And
to see if they have to do this
I
strategy too.
wondered too, what happens if a 10 nanometer actually could pull a lot more than a 7? So what would happen to the 7? Would they have to go back to the drawing board and redesign the 7 if a 10 performs 10 times better than the 7?
Well, it wouldn't necessarily perform that much more better, in terms of a 10 to
Mm-hmm.
10 scale. But what I know is, again, because they don't
Yeah.
measure it same, right? That's the complicated thing. Supposedly Intel's 10 beats AMD's 7,
Uh-huh.
but AMD, instead of, they have refined on the
Yeah.
7 a few times now, like one or two times now, and I think there's gonna be the one that's coming in the fall is probably on the 7, like another revamp. They're probably, instead of going a fourth revamp, they're probably going to go to 5.
Really? So that the revamp is a
Yeah,
restructure of the 7. Oh,
yeah, getting more performance out of it, like making one part of it smaller. It's usually what they're doing. They're not making like the whole thing, like, enough that it's called 5, but they're maybe like reducing one side of it, or it's multi-dimensional. So they're shrinking some part of it and making it more efficient. Or also they're improving the maybe they're not changing a lot about it. I mean, they usually are, because they have performance increases, but they're also increasing the yield. Their process is getting to the point where they don't have as many
yeah.
bad chiplets, and therefore they can give you the better ones,
Interesting.
because they're not wasting as much
Yeah.
silicon. And some the bad ones can't run as fast, and they can't be combined as much, so they're not as many cores, so they can bring you more cores and higher clock speeds with even the same process, without even necessarily tweaking it so it gets even more performance out of it.
Interesting. I'm just learning more and more on this nanometer stuff, man. I was like, I know a little bit about it, but I don't know nowhere near as much as with these articles and what you're explaining.
Yeah, it's Intel's talking about some very ambitious things here. They're really making people think about the future. Um, Nvidia was also doing this, and we'll talk about that in a future article. But Intel is actually talking with this chiplet sets. They're saying that they're going to be, they've been dealing with their integrated graphics. They call it the new integrated XE graphics. This is where Raja Koduri from
Yeah.
AMD went over to Intel to help them with their GPUs,
Really?
and yeah, and their like APUs. And so they're saying the 10th gen right now works simultaneously with an Nvidia MX350 GPU, but they're also saying that the 11th gen is offering similar or better performance than their 10th gen with that. So they're basically saying that their chips that they've been developing can compete with
Yeah.
Nvidia in the APU, at least at that segment point. Maybe they're basically replacing Nvidia and not like really beating
Yeah.
them, but they're saying we don't need to buy like your latest stuff, and maybe they're like distancing themselves from Nvidia in a lot of ways.
Interesting.
And that's why Nvidia is like really pushing like AI with cars, and like looking at for other partners like medical and Tesla and everything like that, because they're saying that like AMD and Intel aren't necessarily going to be like partnering up with them anytime soon. It's like Nvidia has to find other teammates. But Intel's talking about like support for 8K HDR
That's
display.
crazy. 8K.
Yeah. Like if you could afford it, I don't see why not to go to 8K. But because I've never seen like an 8K versus a 4K monitor, I don't even know
I
what to
remember
think.
I saw the 5K and the 8K. How was it? I think was it a webcam? But I've never seen it actually work. Because there's no display. They sell the hardware, but they don't sell. They don't have the. Yeah,
Support
They don't
the
have. They don't
software.
have the software, and they don't have a TV for it at the moment when they released it. Well,
Yeah. And a lot of times, even with like 4K, the software can be buggy.
correct.
And then you're talking about, do you have like, it depends on what you're doing. Are you streaming or something? You know, like that takes even more performance and also needing a higher bandwidth. And like there's more things that can go wrong. But Nvidia was also talking about this too. But it's like they're saying, along with the option to use four 4K HDR displays at once. And I assume that they're talking about just using this with like web browsing. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like four 4K monitors at 16K on one system. I'm pretty sure they're just like you're just looking at your monitor like and looking at text or like video on like YouTube or
yeah,
something. Not like doing anything
yep.
really. But they're saying the AI engine is going to give improvements for video calling, like background blurring,
Can't wait to see that.
which is pretty cool.
It's
Yeah.
it's
I've seen yeah.
it's the AI background removal that while you're streaming. That's pretty cool. It's just a little buggy here and there. I remember we used to try
Yeah.
it out in the beginning of these podcasts. I don't know if you remember, Joe, and it was like so
Yeah.
buggy.
Yeah. I'm not specifically seeing where they're going to be using this, but I bet they're partnering with somebody. But they said that they're built in AI, so I'm not sure if Intel has their own like streaming
I
platform.
wonder. I wonder where it's going.
But I guess they're competing with the Surface Pro X,
Yeah.
and yeah, so you know, just a lot of developments with this. We're seeing them push the envelope. You know, they're talking about um, there's this Intel's also doing like the new Project Athena certification, which is called Intel Evo, and it's going to have higher requirements. It's going to have 9 hours of real world usage on a single charge. 1080p, fast charging for 4 hours of charge in 30 minutes, Wi-Fi 6 and Thunderbolt 4, and system wake in less than a
Yeah,
second.
that's crazy. Wake system wake.
So we're really talking about like I don't know, like insane technology in the next couple of years. Like everything's going to be drastically improved.
Definitely, definitely. I don't even know what Thunderbolt 4 is. Aren't we in Thunderbolt 3 right now?
I believe so.
That's crazy. I wonder what Thunderbolt 4 would be consisting of.
But yeah, guys, if you want to leave any comments or if you want to send us an email giving us your thoughts on this, you're free to do so. So we will go on to the next topic, which is Samsung's premiering it's called the Samsung Premiere. Samsung's the Premiere 4K Ultra Short Throw Laser Projector, which goes up to 103
Interesting.
inches. Yeah. So what do you think about 4K monitors, like projectors?
I think that's crazy. My only worry is I've never seen a laser projector at all. I The only thing I can think of is like how's the quality and what's the lumens and all that stuff that's going to be pushing out and what the prices are going to be. Is it worth buying the projector versus over a TV, 4K TV, or what? Like, and how long do they last? Those are my questions. I'm thinking about right now, going through my head right now. Is this even worth buying at this point in time, or in the future wait till the new 4K laser projectors come out over time?
I personally think it has a lot to do with like family
Mm-hmm.
chemistry, in my opinion. For me and my family, uh, a monitor, a projector wouldn't work because some people like to have a lot of daylight,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to want to watch TV or anything. Like, you know what I mean? They're going to want to watch TV and other movies or other things like all day
Yeah.
long, right? Like even in the morning where it's bright or something, or And so this is only going to work for those people who are like, oh, they have like their own basement or they have like their own like projector
Mm,
room. So you're like, okay, we have cheap TV for everything else in the living room or
yeah.
something, right? And then we have like the movie theater room where we actually have our good, if you have like a, I don't know, like a 720 or a 1080p TV for everything else, and then you have your 4K in the room that's dedicated for a dark room.
Yeah.
In that case, then I say it would be worth it.
See, that's the things like you said, it just varies. I
And then
I think
yeah,
I think it could be a good thing in a certain way, and also too, like I said about lumens, it's like sometimes you don't even have to be in the dark. Sometimes you could actually be in light, because I've seen projectors work in with light, like even outside, but it just depends on the lumens, on how bright is the light projecting on it.
yeah, and it also depends on like the different type,
Yeah,
you know, like some of them are projecting from uh behind you,
correct.
and this Samsung one is a laser projector where it's projecting right against the wall.
Really
So it's more like, yeah, it's almost like kind of like holographic, you
interesting.
know?
So it's
Not quite, because it's still projecting onto the wall, but it's more like holographic than
I gotta
anything
do more
else.
research on this laser projectors.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because I think it's probably more expensive, maybe, maybe less, maybe it's the equal because the light doesn't have to go as
Yeah,
far, so it wouldn't have to be as powerful, But I'd hope it would be the same cost or cheaper, because the other one, has to project like 10 to 20 feet behind you, and so this is awesome because people can actually get up and walk around. So this one would be
oh.
if other competitors have this type of projector, this would be the type that I would
And
actually want to
also
buy.
too, I thought about this right now when you're saying this, that isn't as bright as watching TV, because like you have
Yeah,
like on TV you have the light shooting out from behind the TV or the on the sides, and it coming to your eyes and you feel strain. This is like actually a strain that actually comes onto the wall, and you have no like huge light or like glare coming straight into your face or any light directly at your face. I'm seeing images right now, and it's crazy that it just sits right there on a counter, like on a like if you have a TV stand and it projects it to the wall with ease,
yeah,
like no issues. It's freaking
yeah.
it's epic.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's 4K. It is a peak brightness of 2800
That's
lumens.
kind of low.
Um, well, it says it's bright for a projector, but dimmer than medium and high end TVs.
Man,
But they have a 120-inch version and they have a 130-inch version,
interesting.
and they also say because it's touted as the world's first HDR10 plus projector. So it's an alternative to the popular Dolby Vision HDR format, but the projector HDR is less than HDR for a TV,
Interesting.
but it's still like amazing colors. Like I've seen reviews for um, other projectors, and I personally wouldn't wouldn't care. I think the image the image quality, the correcting and just the reproduction is amazing.
That is interesting.
It's just what's your price budget, and do you have a room that you can have as just a movie theater room?
Yeah, definitely.
Because otherwise I would just stick with like an affordable like $300 1080p TV,
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
or you go up for a little bit higher for a 2K or a 4K.
Yeah, true.
But this is like really sweet, and this is, I guess, I thought about this actually because for the longest time I've been thinking like, oh man, I really wish I could do like console gaming with multiple people in
Yeah.
a room, like the whole
Yep.
screen. And we've actually owned like a projector. We still have it, but it's really poor resolution, this would be the thing that you'd want to
Really?
do. So yeah, like this would be like available to people. And the other thing I wanted, which is a TV screen that goes across the whole, wall, probably will never be a reality.
I would just say get a
You
projector
know,
and then just project on the wall.
well, that's what I'm saying. Like the projector is awesome, right? And like this kind of projector is the
Yeah.
best because I you don't like the idea of somebody being able to walk in front of the screen.
Me and my brother-in-law, we actually set up the projector on the ceiling.
Oh,
We had
cool.
it ceiling mounted projector. And we actually he had a popcorn machine, he had everything in it, and he had some kind of recliners there in the room. And that was pretty dope.
And how did you just have like screw it into the wall or
And no, he
nail it
used
or
they sell projector mounts. You hook them up to the
okay?
ceiling and you screw them onto the ceiling to the ceiling joists, and then you just actually reverse go into the settings and then just flip the image, and that's it. And it just projects
Huh,
it to the wall. Because when you put it on the
that's
ceiling,
awesome.
it's gonna be upside down. So you have to go into the settings and flip the image, and then just it'll flip the image for you, and you'll be able to do it. That's the way we have it. That's the way we had it at the when I worked at the school district. We have them ceiling mounted projectors.
Yeah, it's also said that they're using Samsung's 2020 sound
That's
bars.
amazing.
So yeah, they're other models they're saying by Sony, LG, Optima, Hinsei, and Vava, they range between $2,000 to $15,000. So I would probably go for the $1,000 to $2,000 range. But they're saying the laser light engines, they do away with replaceable lamps,
But what happens if it
which
goes out, like the lamp, the laser? You replace it, or you just replace the projector?
I don't know. I think you probably replace the projector because I think the idea is that it doesn't break. It doesn't like it has a longer lifespan, like LED. I think it probably has like a longer lifespan than the replaceable lamps.
Interesting.
They didn't announce pricing yet, um, but yeah, they had an event called Life's Unstoppable Virtual World. So even with the global problem right now, it couldn't be stopped.
That is interesting.
The virtual world keeps going on.
Definitely, it doesn't stop.
Do you guys have any comments? You can leave them here, or you can email us and tell us. Have you ever had a laser projector or any kind of projector? What's your experience with it? Would you do it again, or are you going to stick to regular TV?
Exactly. I wonder. And my question is, if you have a projector, do you have it mounted on a wall, ceiling, in the back of the room, like a movie theater? So what do y'all have? How do y'all have it set up too? Like that's a good question. And
Yeah,
TVs, how do you have your TV mounted?
yeah. I'll just tell you some really quick things. Like we just had it up on like
Uh
a
huh.
shelf, aiming at the wall, and then for our TV, we had this very interesting setup where we have like this three shelved um wire tabling, right? Where it's got like, it's got gaps between them. And then because we couldn't to put down the TV, we actually put down cardboard down on the second shelf, and we made holes in the cardboard, and we used what's it called? Zip ties to tie the TV down to the cardboard so that the TV wouldn't fall over. So very interesting setup we had with our TV just to hold it down on the cardboard. But yeah, if you guys want to answer those questions about your own TV and projector experiences, let us know.
Definitely.
So our next topic is on PlayStation, and it's about PlayStation 4, right? So PlayStation 4 sales of games are happening right now, and there's a ton of games that are on sale. It's going to be on sale to September 17th. So if you have a PlayStation 4, um, I would look at the PlayStation store sales, and get some games. There's a lot of them for less than $5.
Really?
Yeah, and then the other ones are like half off, where it's like a $25 game now, where it used to be
Yeah.
50. But the sale only goes to September 17th. So, if you're trying to stock up on PS4 games before PlayStation 5 comes out,
Has there been, what's the date? What's the release date on the PlayStation 5?
I don't know if that's been announced yet.
Dude, I can't wait to see the PS5, man.
Yeah. But, a lot of awesome titles here for very cheap prices.
Definitely. I want to go check that out, but I don't have a PS4, so I don't know if there's a reason I should go look at the PS4s.
Yeah, I've looked it up right now. It said like the PS5 release could be
Ooh.
staggered. So, but it's coming to North America
Oh,
first.
really? Is it built
Yeah.
here in the US?
I don't
That is
know.
a good question.
Yeah, but Sony hasn't officially. This is just like a day ago. They haven't officially announced when. So they're still keeping us in suspense. But yeah, guys, I'll tell you some of the game titles here really quickly. So like they have, let's see, Grand Theft Auto 5 for $15. They got God of
Get it.
War,
Get it.
$15. Our Five Cry 5 they have for
Get it.
$15. And yeah, a ton more
Get it.
games.
Just get all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, so stock up now. So the next article, if you guys want to tell us anything, any comments about what kind of games, if you look at this list, it's from comicbook.com. You can type in there about PlayStation 4 game sales. Tell us what games that you're thinking about picking up, or what games you wish were on this list if they're
Yeah,
not.
and what's your favorite game too? We
Yeah,
would love to
definitely.
know. We would love to know what games you love to play on your PS4. Kind of give us hints. No, and we are not. And we are not
Sorry, Nick.
affiliated to PS5. So
Yeah, we have no affiliation with any companies at the present moment.
just enjoy. We're just trying to enjoy games, guys. Come on, throw some feed. Throw some feed into the games world.
Yep. Get your sales when they can.
Okay.
Because, expensive PlayStation 5 games are coming.
Is it gonna be $50, $60, $70?
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Exactly. I've seen games at $50 starting off, and then I remember back in the day, man, games used to be like $30.
Yeah, 60. Oh,
Back in the day,
$30,
man,
yeah.
and now they're like $60, $70. Like, man.
Yeah, I've only bought like one or two games at $60 before, and then I've like, oh my gosh, I had such a bad experience with that. I was like, never.
I know
again.
they do sell games that are like $20 something and stuff like that, but they're or $10, but they're like low end games that you don't find any action or drama or stuff inside that game.
Yeah, they weren't really popular and they didn't have a lot of production value.
Yeah, they're just
yeah.
going on.
So we're continuing our story from like the last 2 or 3 weeks we've been covering. So Epic Games battle between Apple continues, and now in the courts, Epic Games is saying some pretty big things, like they've always been saying. They said that the Apple ban could be a death sentence for his company, the
Will
CEO.
it?
Yeah, right. Will it? What do you think about this?
I really don't think it's a real death sentence because they were already doing this before the mobile platform. So I really don't think it's gonna hurt them that bad. But I do agree with a lot of people are saying that, like Epic Games is making a bigger deal than what it is.
I think if we look at different business models, Apple taking a 30% profit cut is low compared to a lot of the other markets.
Correct.
Like let's just talk about some similar things. Like I don't know what I think also the Google Play Store was probably
I think so.
30% too. Um, YouTube takes 55% of ad revenue, and they take 30% for merch, memberships, and super chat. And if you look at other markets like farming or other types of things, um, 30%, like when you're making, they're basically, and not fully, right? It's not apples
Yep.
to apples, but potentially, 70% profit if they set the price to whatever they
Yep.
want. And of course, there's all the operating costs that we've been talking about, all their servers and all the people they hire and everything that it costs to make that product. But they could raise their
You're
product
correct.
if the market can bear it, and then they have 70%
Correct.
profit.
They could still do a lot of big
Which,
increase and still
yeah,
make. They could still make the revenue if they just pick it up. They just pick it up by 3%. They just pick up the profits or 5-10%. Then that nobody's still they're still losing like 30%, but that's not a lot if they increase it.
yeah, and we have to say about like games like Fortnite, people spend a lot of money
No,
on those.
definitely.
Like I guiltily have admit that I spent like over like 10 years, I spent like $300 on League of Legends.
Really.
Yeah, like I spent it for, more runes, more skins, a lot of crazy stuff, right? But that game was so like involved, in my opinion. Like it was such a really good MOBA game. I couldn't see myself spending like, I'm sorry, even probably like maybe like $5 or $10, but I haven't spent a single cent on uh Fortnite. It's just not my kind of game that I want to
I
spend
wouldn't
money on,
spend money
right?
on that either.
I've spent money on like a game called Heroes and Generals. Again, I've probably spent like $200 on them again. So I've spent a lot of money on a lot of these games. And what I'm saying though is like, even though like some other products that you can put to market can have way more than 70% revenue increase,
Yeah.
right? Like if, I mean, if you think about it actually, if YouTube and Facebook are doing ads, right? And they're saying that they take like 55% of the cut,
Yep.
right? They're not even getting 70% profit. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of, and I'm not sure about like, major networks like ABC or other people, how much, I mean, because they're not really like, they're not giving any, I mean, they're giving their money out to their, their anchors and everybody else, right? So we don't know the profit margins there, but I'm saying like, if you make some product out there that's insanely good, then maybe there's something that's way higher than 70%. Leave some comments or email us about what kind of products get more than 70%
Yeah.
margins, because I would like to know some of those because they probably exist, but I'm not sure.
I wonder. I really do wonder.
Like this article really made us go delving into profit margins, and if there's a lot of other, like, you think about it, they can have a lot of small purchases, right? I'm not sure like with the smallest you can buy. Can you buy something for $1 or
Yep.
whatever, right? But those can add up a lot,
Definitely.
you know. If everybody gave you $1, like some companies, like for movies and stuff, it might be like $5 or $7 or whatever for a ticket, right? But a game like Fortnite is more popular than movies, so they're probably going to spend like many times more than what they would pay you for a movie ticket. So even though you might get a higher profit margin for a very popular movie, in the long term, you're going to make more money. Probably, Fortnite is like, I think it's more than $1 billion game. Am I
Yeah,
wrong
you're
about
right.
that? They're making a lot of money off of it. And so, Fortnite chose this battle, and they chose to fight it with Apple, which is actually their biggest platform base. They said that there's like more than 106 there's more than 116 million gamers who played Fortnite on iOS, which we don't know how many of those are like multiple phones or whatnot, but that's still like crazy
Yeah,
numbers.
that is a crazy number.
They're saying it's more than Nintendo Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, or Android.
This is freaking crazy.
So it's a lot of people, and it covers many continents. So they don't have to. I don't know. I'm not sure what the costs are to Fortnite, but I think that personally they didn't need to fight this battle, and I guess they're doing the altruistic thing they're saying. And we should add that this battle has they've gained another ally. Like 2 weeks ago, we said it was Facebook and Instagram and
Was it?
Epic Games because Instagram is owned
Oh,
by
okay.
Facebook. Yeah. So it was like two. It was actually two, but they use another company title to like make their point
Oh,
stronger.
but where's Google standing on this right now? Because Google,
Google kind of at first we thought Google was going to be on Apple's side, but Google's kind of like playing the in between. Google hasn't taken Epic Games off the platform, but I'm not really sure if Epic Games is still selling stuff or whether Epic Games just violated the Apple iOS,
yeah,
right? And have because I don't think so though, because I think they're probably not able, like they're probably like deactivated on the Google Play Store,
part of it.
but they're probably not
Oh,
removed.
true, true.
You know what I mean? They're probably not able to sell anything, like sell their apps or sell their products through there. No transactions can go through, but they're probably I think they're still visible. They're not. Apple was just saying get rid of them completely, get rid of everybody who's connected with them, their Unreal Engine, all their developers and everything because it was getting
Yeah.
heated. Apple didn't like all the bad press and everything. And so, oh, what I was going to say though is so now it's more like 3 versus 2 or 4 versus 2 if you can include Instagram. So Instagram, Facebook, Epic Games, and then Microsoft weighed in and they actually put a note into the court case, right? Like during like last week, like in August, they told them we think that uh, they were mostly concerned with the Apple trying to get rid of the
Yeah.
Unreal Engine. So Microsoft general manager for gaming developer experiences said, if the Unreal Engine cannot support games for iOS and Mac, Microsoft will be required to choose between abandoning its customers and potential customers in the iOS and Mac OS platforms and choosing a different game engine when preparing to develop new games.
Interesting.
So Microsoft was trying to show that they really are at least not in favor of getting the Unreal Engine kicked off the platform, which Apple's saying they want to do, but they had a temporary restraining order against
Yeah.
that. And so this just continues, and we said like in another week or two we're going to see like some kind of development that's major, but we're just going to keep seeing more people take sides.
Yeah.
And again, I come down saying that Fortnite really, isn't necessarily. I don't think Fortnite is in the right here. I think that to be on the Apple Store, you have to pay $99, I think, a year to have your app on the platform.
Correct.
And then you pay 30% of your apps sales to Apple. Yeah. And I think that's a reasonable, price.
I think so too. Because I thought about putting apps on the market, and at $99, keep it on there, and should be able to upload about unlimited apps. That's not a bad price.
Yeah, and I just think it's similar to all the other companies.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can't say it's necessarily like a monopoly because you can sell on the Microsoft the Google store, and true. I'm not sure if there's a third one. I never got into figuring out if there's another store besides those two.
Samsung.
Oh, does Samsung have the?
And Samsung does have an app store. I forgot what it's called.
Okay, well there you go. You have three then. Then that's like the argument of like Intel, AMD, and Nvidia basically.
I'm trying to see if I can find what the Samsung store called.
Which if we're talking about like antitrust or anti-competition, the courts really should have ruled many years ago if they thought like 3 was not enough. or they thought 2 was not enough. Because if you think about like iOS, it really was between Apple and Microsoft.
Yeah.
Not iOS. Sorry, I meant just just operating systems in general. I meant, and so you know, Apple was given like a leg up because they were about to go under to give Microsoft some competition because Microsoft then would have become a monopoly if Apple went
Yep.
bankrupt.
Definitely.
So Apple, was kept in the market, and my point is that there could have been like, there is like open source. Oh shoot, I can't remember the name right now. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's another open source operating system out there. Oh,
Linux,
Linux,
Ubuntu.
right? Yeah, Linux Ubuntu. Yeah, and so there are. I mean, it's not a sell one; it's a
Yep.
free one, right? But I guess what I'm saying is we have, in terms of market, we didn't say that like 2 is enough competition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Apple versus Microsoft. And so if there is not the Samsung one or other ones like Samsung Store, then at least you have Apple or Google Play Store. And then of course, Epic Games has the internet. So they have their own websites and the problem is Epic Games could have like made money off of mobile,
Yep.
right? But just had it on their own website,
Correct.
on the Fortnite website on the browser. But instead, they went up and above and they put it into the App Store. So they're just I think we were talking about this. Remember, I thought like maybe like Epic Games is just trying to get like a
Yep.
compromise.
Yep.
So they were like trying to like go, hey, give me all the cards, and then when I try to take everything, maybe you'll give me at least like 40 or 50%.
Yeah.
So they're asking for paying Apple $0 for sales, which is really ludicrous. And they're hoping that maybe they only have to pay them like 25 or 20 or 15.
I still don't think that 30% ain't bad enough. Because if you look at there's other markets too out there. They're about 30%, even more.
Yeah. But again, this is, and then they're saying, I think, melodramatic stuff about how their company could be a death sentence.
Yeah.
Because like they're making their own
Yep.
drama, and they're trying to have the public buy into it so that they can make a stronger
Correct.
case in the courts.
Correct. But I don't think it's I don't know. Really don't think that's going to work.
Well, I think the very interesting thing is that Microsoft is weighing in on it, because there's multiple layers to it with like the Unreal Engine.
Yeah, because Microsoft already has that already. People advertise their own products and stuff like that. So Microsoft is going to side with Epic Games, definitely.
Yeah. So I just think it's interesting. Like if we can get any more companies weighing in
I would
on
love
this,
to see that. I would love to see it.
to see the soup get
Correct.
stirred up.
This is, remember we were saying in the previous podcast, like, wonder who else is going to jump on board. Who's going to is Epic Games really right on this? Is it really wrong? It sounds to me like it's a 50-50 chance that Epic Games could win. Because they yes, they are right to the certain point. They should be able to advertise their own stuff on the platform because they're paying they deserve the rights to be able to advertise on their own platform, on their own like game. They should be able to. Like, Apple shouldn't be really restrict something like that because it's like doing paid advertisements. What are you gonna do? Reduce it?
I do see what your point is. You made me think of something that I didn't really think about before. Is that what if the compromise is Fortnite can say you can go to our website to get a discount,
Yeah.
right? But they have to like kind of like hide it somehow, make it harder to see, right?
Yes.
So that the general public would still buy the the 30% cut.
I see what you're saying.
You know what
Hiding
I
it,
mean? You know what I mean? So it'd be like, oh, you found an Easter egg, and you can now get like, a discount if you go to our website,
correct. You could do
or it's kind of like a mail-in rebate.
yes, or they could put in a code if you want 30% off. Go to our website. You get 30% off.
Yeah. Like what if you yeah. What if you had to like buy it on the Apple Store, and then you have a receipt, and then you have to put in that code, and you go to the Epic Game Store and you get a refund.
Correct.
But I guess that doesn't make sense though, because the Epic Games would have to pay the 30%. But sorry, that was just me just going like crazy. It's like thinking about all these different strategies they could try to do.
There is ways that they could get around that law, that their policy, and I think about stuff, and it is possible they can go around it without actually violating their contract. But I'm not gonna go into details to help other people, around it. But there is ways around it. I'm pretty sure Epic Games is not the only person that's doing it. They only got spotted because they're like one of the number one.
They're the biggest. And Apple's like, oh, hey, we're noticing that we're losing money, or we're noticing like somebody brought this to our attention.
That's the only reason that they're getting targeted right now. But if you actually remove that away from it, I bet you there's 1,000 apps on the market. Because Apple reviews apps, like really they review them. But I'm surprised they didn't catch this when it got published into the market way ahead of time. They probably just like, this game's not gonna be popular. They just go ahead and let it through. So once they put it in the market, I don't really think that the guy kind of violates the contract anymore, because that's their fault. They missed it. So why are you gonna penalize? Why are you gonna penalize somebody that you already approved? Go back and turn around and say, no, you can't do that.
Yeah, I guess I don't know about that.
There's so many ways.
But yeah, guys, we're gonna be following this up in the weeks to come, because it's an interesting story, an interesting saga that keeps giving. And leave us some comments or email us, and let us know your thoughts, and we'll try to pick up the conversation. So let's go on to our last article for today. Nvidia had this super big event last week. They had it for like an hour, and it actually blew a lot of people's minds. Like the RTX 3090 and the 3080 and the 3070, the specs were revealed, and the specs really were tremendous. Like we'll have to see like the full thing when it actually is like launched, but people are looking at the performance, and it's pretty insane. Like they're advertising the CUDA cores at like 10,000 for the 30x, RTX 3090, and they're talking about 8K gaming, of course. But we're talking about like an addition of like 5,000 CUDA cores from the previous generation.
I was going to bring up, Joe. Tell us a little bit more about the because I know you were watching that live stream from Nvidia. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that stream went to as well? Because we're on that topic. Because wasn't it about the RTX 3090 in that live stream?
Yeah, I mean, it was about all three, but they were, like a lot of people were watching it, and they kind of didn't. I didn't really get it too until afterwards, when I was watching other people talk about the live stream with their chat. And Nvidia always talks about in their conferences about like how much increase over the previous generation. So they're talking about like 100% increase or whatever, right? A 50% increase. But it just wasn't conveyed. Like they did not like talk about 10,000 cores during the presentation. So like it was kind of like the presentation was cool, and we were hearing about like improvements to RTX and everything. We all were expecting it to have like massive improvements, because their AI is developing over time, and their software, it was the first generation of RTX.
Yeah.
But we were not expecting, all the leaks that were leading up to this were not telling us that it was going to be like 10,000 cores. And we're not sure if they're like doing some extra math, like adding the RT cores and the CUDA cores, like the normal rasterization. but we think that they're separate, and so that's why they're talking about 8K, and that's why they're talking about like insane 4K. But also with the DLS 2.0, 2.1, sorry, which is going to really put out a lot more frames for the technology you already have. So if you already have like a NVIDIA 2060 or something, when this DLSS 2.1 is supported in new games, it's going to make your current graphics card perform even better.
Yeah.
But the cool part, okay, the really cool part was that this massive RTX 3090, which is like usually called like their like Titan class, has been renamed, we think, to RTX 3090, and the cost is a lot less than a Titan card.
Really?
So the Titan card usually only offered like maybe 500 to up to 1,000 CUDA cores more, but it was like 2,000 or something, or $2,500. This is only $1,500, and it's giving you like 24 gigabytes of VRAM, which is a lot, which the other one did, the Titans did, but the Titans usually were different because they just offered you a lot of VRAM and they didn't offer you a lot of CUDA cores. So they're giving you a ton of performance for like half the price.
Yeah.
So that's why it was everything was shocked. Like Jensen kind of acknowledged that the gamers want everything. The gamers want more RT, right? They want like better frames, they want better images, more shadows and everything, but they also want more general performance as well. So they want their frame counters to go up like, 30 to 40 frames each generation, and they want to get higher resolution, and they want better colors and shadows and
Yep.
everything, right? They didn't deliver the last time. And they also didn't deliver in price. So this time, NVIDIA's lowered the prices back to like normal, basically, offered you a tier above, but actually, in a sense, it's actually the same tier, but cheaper. And super ray tracing, super everything. Like they're talking about like affordable cards. I can't wait to see like the RTX 2060 announced, because I think that one will be the one that's like, it's kind of like the GTX 1060 was very popular. And I think that'll be like the card that most people are craving.
That is very interesting.
Because most people don't have $1,500.
No, they don't.
But that one is like your Rolls
Yep,
Royce.
definitely.
So again, like basically the last generation, the RTX 20 series really couldn't do 4K for a lot of the AAA titles. You had to get like the 2080 Ti, and even that one was having troubles in some games, like 50 frames. But this one is really this is basically, these are like the first true 4K generation where many of the cards can able to do 4K comfortably.
Definitely.
And if you already did stuff like I do 4K, but I'm only doing like Fortnite or League of Legends, I'm comfortable with like a 2060. So this will definitely like the 10, like the, maybe there's an RTX 2050, but maybe not. Like it's like they call it like the GTX like 1650 and stuff like that. So it might be like the GTX, like I don't know, 2060 or something. Those ones will be definitely comfortably like probably in the 1440p range. And at least, and also like higher 1080p. So I don't know, a lot of cool stuff happening with the graphics, and also like the pricing is good, the performance leap is huge. People are thinking like, can AMD jump up? Can AMD bring more performance, or can they even compete on like cost?
Yeah, can they?
Because NVIDIA's like, AMD has a lot of they have horses in the console, right? Their CPUs and GPUs are being used, I believe, exclusively in the consoles, like the PS5 and like the Xbox.
Yep.
I don't think NVIDIA is in those. For the GPU, I believe it's AMD GPU and AMD CPU. So NVIDIA really wants to pull people away from the console and make sure that they are on the PC for life.
Definitely.
PC ultimate, what is it? PC race.
Yep.
A PC master race. That's what it was. PC against all the console
I
wars.
can't wait. I want to see that more. Hopefully, the PC could outrule the Xbox. Yes.
Yeah. So they're just trying to blow it away. Before we thought it was just like them like blowing a lot of hot air, saying that they're gonna like really blow the console away. There's like no reason to go to
Yeah.
consoles, but there are reasons. Like if you like the controllers and the exclusives, and like you don't have as much money to buy an expensive PC.
Well,
But Nvidia this time around is really showing that there's a real reason why you want to go to they widened the gap between the consoles. They needed to, because it was the gap was closing.
yeah, and right now it's actually doing that you actually, I'm pretty sure everybody knows this, that you can actually buy controllers, the Xbox controllers or PS4 controllers for your PC.
Yep. Yeah, my brother does it a lot. He likes a lot of controllers. So if you don't want to always use the mouse
So
and the
I'm
keyboard.
thinking that this might be coming the new generation here, the PC world coming back to the gaming world.
Yeah.
Just if you think about it, Joe, the consoles are exactly like computers. There's not much difference. They're getting the same enhancements, the same video graphics card. Either you buy a brand new PC or you buy a brand new Xbox. Only go on.
And I think that's the idea, that like consoles were trying to become more like PCs. Like letting you browse the internet and DVDs, and like just like maybe like other like you could plug like probably USBs in there and like do mods and other kind of stuff. They're competing against each other, and like PCs like saying, hey, all that console stuff, like trying to like become more like us. Well, they can't be better than us, because we were the first, and we're going to show you how much better.
And another thing is that differences, because I hopefully they could resolve this later. PCs versus consoles is that PCs get viruses and consoles don't. I wonder how, if they want all of us to go to PCs, is the Windows going to actually fix all those bugs?
So you think that consoles don't
No,
get
they don't.
any viruses?
Because they're not running the main operating system. They're running like a light version of a Windows or something. It's based off of like Linux and Unix.
Interesting.
I've never known any console to be running Windows. All like Linux based operating systems.
The counterpoint, I'm going to say, like, consoles are cool. There's a lot of reasons why. But the counterpoint to consoles is that if you have like some technical problem, that you might be able to fix the coding of the game. Like I have a tutorial about how you go in and you can like change like the audio and try to make it better, right? If your audio is messed up on the PlayStation or something, or Xbox, what can you do? You have to call them up, and then hopefully their tech support actually fixes the game. But that hasn't happened for the PC either. And so you have, then at least with PC, you can go in. I'm not sure if you can do it. I think people may be able to do it, but it's harder to go into your PlayStation and your Xbox and like mess with the coding to try to make the game experience better. But with PC, the code is more accessible.
Yeah.
So, well, if you guys have any comments about the RTX 3090 and the 3080 and 3070, you can leave them, and you can also email us, and we will hear your thoughts. A penny for your thoughts. So we're going to say goodbye this week. And next week, we will continue to be on Blazin Tech channel. And if you want to support us, you can support us at Anchor. Anchor.fm, I believe.
Yep, definitely.
And you can subscribe to our YouTube channels, Blazin Tech and Tech We Love. And give us a like and share. And again, leave us some comments about what you think about all these articles we've been covering, and what kind of news really excites you.
Yeah. And if you want us to discuss like topics, comment down below, please. And we'll cover stuff like that. I'm going to be introducing a new thing to y'all every other week. Not every my weekend, but maybe at least once a month. We'll be talking latest hardware, latest software, just pretty much throughout the whole podcast. And And we will discuss some topics, like 2 or 3 topics, but then the rest of it's gonna go technical. I hope Joe's ready for that.
I'm
I'm ready
ready.
for this. I'm gonna try something new as well. So hopefully y'all gonna enjoy that new thing. So if you want to actually maybe schedule time with us too as well, if you're having issues with the computer, maybe we could actually do a live stream and actually help try to see if we could resolve a computer issue during a live stream one day, maybe even after the podcast. So if you like to see technical troubleshooting, we're more than helpful here to help you out.
Oh, that'd be cool. Some live live
I would love
troubleshooting.
that. Would be doing like a help desk type role over the web. So if you're interested, we will help. We will help and guide you guys. This is free service. But you can't guarantee that we will fix every issue you have. Because there might be a
Yeah,
time that you actually need an on-site tech, but we will give you a heads up on that.
yeah. Like it's whack-a-mole. You hit one problem down and two more
Trust me,
come up.
I had that yesterday. Or the day before. I was doing a job.
And then remember, guys, tech support's number one advice: turn your computer off and turn it back
That
on
is
again.
number one. We called that at my work. We called that the mark. Yeah, we called it the
Mark.
mark because the guy's name was Mark, and he would tell every single person they had an application problem, turn it off and turn it on. They had a printer problem, turn it off and turn it on. If they couldn't right click, turn it off and turn it on. If the Internet Explorer wouldn't open, turn it off and on. Every issue you had, turn it off and on. Anything, any issue. That's the number one issue. Number one resolution is turn it off and turn it back on, like Joe said. That is the number one. So we call that the mark, MARK, and we got it because I started calling that, and I'm not the only one. There was several people at work. They called it the mark, so kept it. So yeah, see you guys. Peace for me.
Yep. Take care, guys.